So here we go. I'm going to show you how we got to this position in a moment. But the first task for all of us is look for a way to initiate an attack, all right? And he's telling us here we are expected to calculate variations. Let me actually read the specific. Find a way to create an attack, calculate variations, and difficulty level is pretty high. It's number 5. So according to him, that's pretty high. Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for dropping by. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to give ourselves 10 minutes to calculate this. Actually, just for this first task, we should be able to come up with the candidate moves and calculate a little bit just in 3, 4, 5 minutes. So let me bring a timer over here. All right, there we go. We got 4 minutes to look at the candidate moves. We got 4 minutes to calculate and then see which one you're gonna come up with. Even if you don't find it, don't worry, because once we find out what the move is, then I'm gonna give you more time to calculate. The main objective is to calculate, to visualize. Of course, if you have something concrete, let me know in the chat, okay? If we don't find it in the time that we have left, then we go over it together. All right, welcome aboard. This is Why to Move, and we are basically using this book. We're trying to calculate as much as possible. The order here is look for a way to create an attack, and you are expected to calculate variations. So definitely, it's a move that is tricky, it's complicated. Rook d1, wait, the queen is on d1, or you mean rook e1? Rook e1, I think you mean rook e1. Okay, so rook e1 trying to play pawn to e4, okay. Okay, bishop d2 threatening knight d5 and so on, okay. One thing that comes to mind right away is that the black king is in the center. Notice how the white king is already castled. Pieces are in pretty good shape. So I wish I could open up lines to get to that king. So the move that you said, rook e1 followed by e4, you're definitely in the zone, but I think it's a little bit too slow, just too slow. Rook e1, I'm gonna be in perfect time to develop the bishop and just castle. So what could be more energetic than rook e1 and then pawn e4? I think the move has to be e4. b4 an option? Well, I'm gonna take that with either piece, and then the knight is gonna be hanging, it's gonna be attacked. Actually, b4, c takes b4, you have to be dropping something there. But we have to consider it. Don't forget, candidate moves are not supposed to be the right move, it's just moves that come to mind, then you take a look at each one of them. So in this case, we have b4, bishop d2, rook e1. Rook e1 too slow, b4 cannot be the move, but we have to consider it. Bishop d2, I don't think is that energetic. I don't think you're going to be creating an attack. Okay, but then what if they take with the pawn instead? Now, I think the move, and we had a lesson on this, the move has to be pawn to e4, right? Just trying to open up the position. Now, the one line that I'm not so happy with is pawn to d4. Like, I can see this working out for us, but not pawn to d4, right? So I calculated, I'm not 100% happy with it. I don't know if I'll play it in a real game, but again, that's what this is about. Calculate, calculate, calculate. Now we're gonna take a look at what they say in the book, and I hope that you guys follow along with me. So in this book, guys, I showed it to you once, and this is basically Gokko with one of his students, and then the student goes first, and then he's doing basically what we did, right? So the student says, I consider the move pawn to e4, and then if they play d4, I would like to play pawn to e5, right? So that's what he's looking for, and then rook e1 is coming in and everything else. Now, in a real game, unless you see something concrete, don't go down this route, okay? Now, Gokko is saying your intuition is fine, but your calculation is not accurate. And then he gives this variation. The move is indeed pawn to e4, and let's try to do this on our head. But then if pawn to d4, he says the move to go is actually knight takes d4. And basically he's saying if e4, d4, e5, then they have knight h5 and you don't get anything. So our main task here is to do everything that I'm going to tell you guys. Try to do it in your head. If you're playing a game, you should be able to calculate this in 5-8 minutes. You cannot be spending 20 minutes every single time you get to a critical moment. So I'm going to say it is 4:56. I'm going to see how long it takes us to go through all of these and see it clearly. So e4, pawn to d4, he's saying knight takes pawn, do it in your head. C takes d4, followed by queen d4. Now, let me know if you guys, or try to really picture that image. You have to update that image in your head. The pawn is now on e4. These two pawns are gone and the knight is gone and my queen got to d4. Now, what is that queen threatening from there? If you cannot see that far, we better stop, okay? So e4, d4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes d4. What is the threat that we have at that point? Perfect. So we're threatening the knight on f6. So if I'm playing a game, I calculate this far, I'm already liking this. I'm attacking that knight and the knight is actually pinned to the rook. Now, what could the black pieces do? And this is one thing that all of us struggle with. Thinking of our opponent's responses. We cannot miss anything, we gotta consider everything. So once the queen is on d4, my pawn is on e4, I'm attacking the knight. What to do if they go bishop e7? What to do if they go bishop g7? Now, the move has to be bishop g5. Don't forget that we just moved the pawn to e4. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop e7. I'm going to keep putting pressure on that knight that is pinned. So bishop g5, how can they defend? I don't see anything. Queen b6, I'm gonna take it. Queen a6, rook a6, I'm gonna take it. Oh, but they have queen d8. So can I continue to add more pressure to that knight? Any candidate moves, what do we do at that point? Yes, and we have to calculate that too. What to do after the queen goes to d8? Everything seems defended. They're about to castle, so you better hurry up. e5, e6. Well, if you go a5, you're just getting in the way, so the knight is gonna move out the way. Now I'm hitting this. Knight to d5, perfect. Okay, that's the move that they're giving. Okay, so we're gonna do it from the beginning, guys. If you don't like this repetition, wrong place, because we have to do it the right way. So e4, d4, we take, they take, we take back with the queen, putting pressure on the knight. I'm happy with this. Okay, there's some pressure. They could do one of these two. I gotta calculate. If bishop e7, I add more pressure, then queen d8. By now, it should be getting a little bit blurry for some of you. We gotta keep pushing. The move is actually knight d5. If they take, I'm happy to take on h8 with check. So what else could they do? Well, they could take with the bishop, pawn takes on d5, and now you have to be able to picture, to visualize that position, that final position. What could they do? Like, I'm coming in with rook e1, I'm coming in with d6. If I play d6, bishop needs to leave, and then I collect for free. So what could they do here, right? I don't think they could do much other than h6, attacking your bishop, and then at that point we have pawn to d6. If they take the bishop, then we have rook e1 pinning the bishop. And guys, that king in the center, we're going to be collecting, hitting the queen, and then this is hanging anyways. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to do all of that in your head. Then I'm gonna show you the final position for you to compare to see if that's what you have in your head. You should be seeing things blurry, that's okay. The more we do this, the better we get at it. So give it 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna show you the final position. D6 is threatening. This means that you actually can visualize that final position. Good. Let me know when you're done visualizing, and I'm gonna show you quickly on the right top here, the final position. No, we're gonna calculate that now. Slowly. We're going to calculate that now. First, do it in your head. Guys, this is not for you to hear what the answer is. It's for you to actually reproduce it in your head. And do it until you start to see things clearer. This is the way to improve it. All right, so I'm gonna do it one more time, then I'm gonna show you the final position. So I have e4. If they play d4, knight takes d4, pawn takes, queen takes d4, I'm hitting the knight. Bishop e7, bishop g5. I just wanna get that knight. The knight cannot leave, so they bring the queen also to defend. Right there, I go knight to d5, bishop takes, pawn takes. Now I'm ready to play pawn to d6. Defended by the queen, bishop has to leave, and I collect the knight, right? Now, they could play something like pawn to h6, but then I go pawn to d6, h takes g5, and rook a to e1, just completely pinning the bishop. I'm gonna take it by hitting the queen, and then this is hanging. So let me go ahead and show you the final position. Now, let me know if this is what you guys pictured. Was it exactly like this, or was it blurry? It should be over here. And be honest, okay? Look, the most important thing, guys, is what we're doing right now. This is the most important thing. If your tactics are weak, if you're not able to calculate 3, 4, 5 moves down the road, your openings are only gonna take you so far. You could have the best position out of the opening. You're gonna mess it up if you're not good at this. Okay, a bit blurry, good, that's fine. It was very blurry. Okay, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. So this is the final position. I'm gonna play it out on the board now for you to see it, and then we'll look at the other variations. Wait. We're gonna go there now, guys. We're gonna go there now. So e4, in the actual game they took, but we had to calculate if they advance. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I'm hitting that knight. They could fianchetto. We're gonna calculate that now, or they could do this. Now I'm gonna keep putting pressure, developing my pieces. They keep defending, and now knight d5. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and again, king is still in the center. My pieces are so active, rooks are ready to come over to the e file. I'm ready to play d6, give me my material back. If they play h6, then we have pawn to d6. And again, if the bishop leaves, not only do we have the checks, but we could even take. This is a disaster. If h takes g5, then rook e1, and what are you gonna do, right? Let's say you castle. This is it. This is just too much. So this is what Gulko calculated. He was happy. He was very happy with this, actually. Now, if we go back from here, before we decide to play e4, what if d4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop g7? Now, what move comes to mind? Take a moment, and guys, I know this is really boring. Nobody likes this, but this is how we improve. So what do you think we should do at this point? Yeah, I'm sorry. This is how we do it. A lot of people don't like to do it, and that's why we have those gaps, because we never trained this. Look, the question is, we want to play e4. We already know what to do if after d4, e4, d4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I'm attacking the knight, which is pinned on the rook. If they go bishop e7, we know what to do. Now the question is, what do you think we should do if they go bishop g7? Thank you. So glad to hear, guys. So glad to hear. Outplay e5. Okay, but then after e5, that knight could just go to h5. So you have to consider that. Knight d5 looks insane. Okay, let me ask you this. After e4, d4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop e7, what was the move that we played? There is a pinned knight, and we wanted to add more pressure to it. No. Hey, be careful. If after bishop g7, they play knight h5, that knight is defending the bishop. You see, this is something we cannot miss, guys. We're calculating this line. This is like the beginning of the game. We're calculating a variation. If we cannot keep up with this, forget about that next level. Ah, yes. Okay, so look, try to keep track of this. E4, D4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. If they play bishop G7, same move that we did before, bishop G5. I'm adding more pressure to that knight, and I'm developing my bishop that was doing nothing. Now, at this point, knight goes to H5, defending that bishop. Well, we're gonna go queen D6, and I'm threatening checkmate on E7. Don't forget, the bishop left and the knight left. So my bishop, you gotta be able to update this image in your head. Those pieces are gone. Your bishop is on G5, your queen is on D6, threatening checkmate, right? Now, if they want to prevent that checkmate, there's only one move they could do, which is pawn to F6. Now, at that point, we're going to go queen E6 check. I know you didn't see this bishop pinning the pawn. And then if the king goes to D8, well, rook to D1, and we add more pressure. Again, guys, very blurry, but the more we do it, the better we're gonna get at it. And with this, that king is in the center. I have my rook, my bishops, my queen. This is already very good for us. If you can clearly see that final position, you're going to be happy with it. Now, if E4, D4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop G7, bishop G5, knight H5, queen D6, threatening checkmate on E7. If they go instead, after pawn F6, queen E6, if they go to F8, then we go queen D6. All I wanted to do was make sure that the king can never castle. King goes back, and then they give bishop E3. And again, the king is in the center. We have a very good attack. It's all blurry. I know it's all blurry. Now, I'm gonna show you what the final position is, and I hope that you redo everything in your head. So this is what the final position looks like. And again, if it was blurry, I know, we keep doing it. You miss queen E6? Very easy to miss. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do it one more time. Again, boring, I know, but we have to do it. So E4, D4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop G7, bishop G5. Knight moves out the way, hitting my queen. Thank you. I'm gonna go and hit you through the dark squares, okay? So I'm hitting checkmate over here. If they play F6, thanks to this bishop, I can play queen E6. If they go to D8, I got rook D1, and I'm gonna be able to do rook takes D7, knight takes, queen takes. If they go to F8, queen D6, king E8, and then bishop E3. Very strong attack. Okay, there you go. The more we do it, the better it's going to get. This is the way to do it. All right, so let's go. E4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. We already calculated what to do if this happens. Now, if bishop G7, we keep adding pressure. Knight H5, queen D6, right? Now, if they don't want me to checkmate them, they have to give me the queen, give me the bishop or the knight, or just block with the pawn. Now, thanks to this, we have to play queen E6. We can play queen E6. If they go to D8, bring one of the rooks to the D file, and I'm ready to take, and then checkmate. If instead they go to F8, check, and then bishop E3, and this is already better for the white pieces. At least I wouldn't like to be black over here. King in the center, unable to castle ever, bishops on the board, knights, and of course the rooks. All right, so I hope that you could visualize that. I'm going to remove this and bring it all back. All right, so in the actual game, E4 was played, black pieces took on E4, and now we have to continue to be energetic. Of course, knight to E5. Guys, king in the center, this is all that we care about. Intuition should be telling you this is the way to go, right? So after 95, we got queen to C7, putting pressure on the knight, and now take your time. What would you play next as the white pieces? I'm gonna give you the 4 minutes. Take your time. All right, so this is the book. I made a video about this, guys. This is a book that I'm enjoying a lot. It's actually like 3 books, and this is the second one. I went over the first one completely and I liked it a lot. This is number 2. I'm not even halfway, but I like it. I like it a lot. So this is game number 7 from this book. Now let me see. Yes, I have shown this book before. Either this one or the other one, but it's the same series of books. Okay, bishop g5, candidate move, and again, this doesn't have to be the right move. It's just a move that comes to mind. Bishop g5, just be careful with the knight hanging. Another candidate move, bishop f4. Bishop f4, okay. Right, guys, this is indeed the move. Bishop f4. Ah, there you go. So I said, I was looking at the book and I saw the diagram of this position. And I think I posted it on my YouTube channel or Twitter or something like that. So bishop f4. Queen b3, interesting. I know that you want to make that work, but this is hanging, so be careful with that. Now, the move is indeed, guys, bishop f4. Now, in the game, they played knight h5, going after that bishop, but they have this variation with bishop d6. And then you're asked to calculate. There's a combination here. Now, interesting, in the book, Gulko gives this variation. Bishop d7, clearing that square for the knight, and then knight b5, and I collect, right? So I get my material back, I'm up, I get that pawn, king is gonna be in the center, I'm gonna go to f7. This is just a disaster, right? But the computer actually gives knight d7 as the best move. And I'm hitting d6. If they take over here, then we take on f6. And anyways, that king is just in the center, there's a lot of attack, right? Now, again, in the actual game, they played knight h5, and again, we are asked to come up with the next move. What would you play now as the white pieces? No. This book actually, basically what they did, Gulko collected games that he liked, right, for the book. And then he's showing you the game, and then when he gets to a critical moment, he's telling you, okay, here you have to calculate. Here, look for the best strategic move. Here, look for this. And then his student gives his answer, and then he reacts to it and gives his opinion. And guys, this is like training with a grandmaster, basically. Not a grandmaster, a super grandmaster with lots of experience. And he talks about everything. And his student, being a pretty inexperienced player, asks all kind of questions. So that's why I like it so much. So anyways. Okay, knight d7. Knight d7. Now, knight d7, be careful. Like when here, I was thinking of knight c6. I'm like, this is really nice. This knight c6, but it just doesn't make sense. They just take on f4. Come on, give me candidate moves. I have knight d7 as a candidate move. What else? You know, even moves like g3 are valid here. Knight g6, nice. Queen b3, interesting. Queen d2, fair. Now, Queen d2, I'm thinking right off the bat, they could take and then pin it. They add more pressure to it and you're pinned. Now, Queen b3, if you thought of this one, very nice, because you're basically telling them, collect, I'm going to take here with check, this is being attacked anyways. So that's a very good move. The problem is that you made the same mistake all of us make at some point, and that's something that I'm trying to really work on. When I think of my move, as good as it might seem, I need to ask myself, what could my opponent do to mess up my calculation, right? Or what I calculated. And the problem with Queen b3 is the move pawn to c4. And that's it. It's not so effective anymore. If you take with the queen, happy to trade queens and give me the bishop. If you take with any other piece, I'm going to take anyways, because your queen now is not the one getting to f7. So we have to consider this. You don't know how many times I have missed moves like this. So that's why, again, this is so important. There you go. This is the move indeed, guys. It's the same idea. Knight d5, I'm hitting that queen. If the bishop takes, then queen takes again, hitting the rook, but also threatening. And now there's no interference. There's nothing like that. So knight d5 was played. And now the black pieces have a few options. They could play queen d8, they could play queen a5, and they could play queen d6. In the actual game, queen d6 was played, but even this move loses to knight c4. That's it. And I'm ready to go to c7. Now that I opened up the bishop, forget about taking over here. Powerful fork. And of course, going to d8 also loses. What do you think we should do if they play queen d8? So take your time. Never mind, bishop d7. Thank you for the follow, guys. Well, here the move is actually knight d7. We just gotta clear this up. Knight d7, then knight c7. This is just too much already. All right, knight d7, threatening discovery, threatening so many things. Exactly. Now, like I said, in the game, they played queen to d6. And now, guys, we gotta find the final combination to just win the game. So, yeah, they say calculate a forced win. Difficulty level 3. So before we had to calculate something that was level 5, that line with e4. Now we gotta calculate the forced win. The game finished in 4 more moves or so. So this is like super GMs playing, and the game ended in 19 moves. All right, let me know if you could see it, okay? All right, welcome aboard. And here we go, guys. This is the final calculation. I'm gonna give you, look, in a real tournament, you don't wanna, there's no way you're gonna have a lot of time to calculate this. So I'm gonna give you 6 minutes. There we go. 6 minutes. You have to be able to calculate this. At this point in the game, you probably spent a lot of time finding all of these moves, calculating everything. You get to this position. You know that you're better because you have 2 knights, 2 bishops, the queen, and your opponent's king is in the center. But we gotta be accurate. 6 minutes. If you don't find it, we gotta keep working, training hard. Okay, give me the whole thing. Now, if you don't find it, I'm gonna tell you it, and then we compare to see if you actually visualized it properly. Well, if knight d5, I mean knight d7, what if they just take this bishop? What are you gonna do next? Queen h5 maybe? Queen h5? Queen h5? Okay, let me see. Queen h5, g takes h5, knight d7. No, wait. If you give me the queen, I'm happy to give you material back now. You gave me just too much. Not to mention that I don't have to take you, right? If I calculate something concrete for you, I'm just gonna probably take over here or take with the bishop. The knight is still defending d7. But, we have to look into it. It's a candidate move. Knight f6. Let me see. Knight f6, queen f6, bishop d7. Yeah, but if knight f6, I could just take with my knight. Oh, but then you have knight d7. No, but I take you. Yeah, I think knight f6, I just take with the knight instead. Yeah, it looks good, but can you see something concrete? If not, don't even go down that route. Oh, now it's interesting. Okay, 2 more minutes, guys. Come on. Bishop g5, interesting. Question is, what to do when this falls? Not to mention f6. Knight is still defending. But hey, again, we have to consider it. Alright guys, not to torture you so much, the move is actually knight d7, but the question is what to do after. Like, let's say you go knight d7, they go knight f4. How would you continue? You got it, you got it. Knight d7, knight takes f4, and then queen g4. Knight d7, knight f4, knight e goes to f6. Knight d7, knight f4. Knight e. Wait, what do you mean knight e? It has to be knight 7 or knight 5. Knight d7, knight f4. I'm assuming you mean this one. No, wait. I'm not sure what you mean. Not sure what you mean. Knight d7, knight f4, knight 5 to f6. Okay, so knight d7. We got 10 seconds. Knight f4, knight 5 goes to f6. King d8, and then what do you do? Because with my king on d8, I don't think you have any forks. Alright guys, let's do what we did before. I'm gonna tell you what actually happened in the game. You try to visualize, and then we compare the position that you came up with if it's exactly what I'm gonna show you up here, okay? So, no worries, we have to consider it. So, here's what we have. We have knight d7, so calculate that. Knight takes on f4, right? So far, you should be able to see that. Then knight goes to c5. And by the way, Goko, his student in the book, tells him what he thinks, and then he gets it wrong. And Goko basically says how complicated, how tricky it is to find the right move when there's so many knights involved. Knights are not linear pieces. They actually, it's difficult to keep track of them. So perfectly normal to just mess that up. It's perfectly normal. But it also helps us a lot to calculate and improve. So knight d7, knight f4, then knight to c5, discover check. So make sure that you can follow from there. Then I'm hitting knight b7. If the king goes to d8, I'm hitting so many things. So the best thing they could do is bishop c6, right? So again, knight d7, knight f4, knight c5, discover check. Careful with going here because of the fork. So after bishop c6, the move is knight takes e4. I'm hitting that queen. So my knight is still here. This is the one that went around and came to e4. And then after queen e5, we have knight. At this point, I know you don't even know where the pieces are anymore. At that point, we have knight goes to f6. There's one knight here, one here. No. Actually, we cannot do that. We have to take first. I see it now. Then knight goes to f6, king e7, and queen d7. Try to do it one more time. I know it's confusing. Try to do it one more time. It's going to get blurry. And let me know if you can see this position. This is the final position. Let me know if you saw it like that. Probably you see it blurry. You still see these pawns in the way. It's not so clear. But again, this is how we improve. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. All right, so I'm gonna do it one more time. Knight d7, knight f4, knight c5 check. My knight is ready to collect over here, so they're gonna block with the bishop, and I go knight e4. At that point, I have my knight still here, the other knight is here, black knight is on f4, right? Queen leaves. I got knight d to f6 to open up the queen. No, I keep doing that. That's a mistake. I gotta take first. Knight takes. Then knight d goes to f6. King e7, queen d7, checkmate. So knight d7, check. Forget about going here. That's a fork. And if you block, then I hit the queen again. Forget about taking over here. We have knight f6. So queen has to move. We chop off the bishop because we need this knight to stop defending d7. So we chop it off, check, and then that's checkmate. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Guys, I'm doing this mainly because I'm doing it anyway. So I figured we might do it live, right? But this is what I'm doing to train this. I figured in many of my games, one of the main challenges that I have is that I have to calculate things like this, but I don't have a lot of time left. So what's better training than doing this? Like looking at these Super GM's games, pretending they're my games, pretending I'm in those critical moments and saying, you know what, calculate all of this in 5 minutes, in 6 minutes. Maybe I do it in 10, but the more I do it, I get better at it. I just played the World Open last week. I don't play a lot, but at least once a year I get that need to play a tournament. Like I really want to play it. And it sucks because if you don't play that often, you're out of shape and it's tough. All right, guys, this was the move. Now, one thing that I like to do, and you don't have to do it, but I like to reproduce the whole game from memory. Let's see if we can remember everything. This is another way to torture me even more. Now, I didn't show you the beginning of the game. Now you get to see it. So this is a Benko gambit, d5, knight f3, g6, we take the pawn, a6. Now, if you're not familiar with this, no problem. But Benoni, Benko gambit, they offer you basically an extra pawn so that they can quickly develop and add pressure, right? So white pieces say no, then pawn to d6, let me mess up your pawn structure. This, we've seen it in the Pierce defense many times. And then after e3, we're threatening to take on b5. So they took, bishop b5, d5. Notice how many of the games that I see from Gulko, he prioritizes putting the king to safety, and then he goes for your king, right? So at this point, after bishop b7, this is where we started. Now, let me know if you remember what the move is. Let me know in the chat, and then we go from there. Nope, never been asked, actually. This is just a reminder, guys, for you to put your knight on d5. Come on, that's where the knights belong, in the center of the board. Hey, to each their own. Just do what makes sense to you. What matters is that we train, that we stay in shape. All right, nobody remembers? What was the move? This is the first move we came up with. Come on. All right, I'm going to do it myself. Okay, e4, e4. Well, let me actually chop this off. Well, let me leave it there. There you go. e4, they could take or they go d4. e4, if they go d4, I try to do it one more time in my head. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. They could play bishop e7 or bishop g7. If bishop e7, I add more pressure to it, the knight is pinned. They bring the queen back, then I go knight d5. Bishop takes, doesn't matter. I take with the pawn, threatening d6 and rook e1, right? If e4, d4, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. If they go bishop g7, I still go bishop g5. They move the knight out of the way by defending the bishop, but now I go queen d6. Thanks to the bishop, I'm threatening checkmate. They could play f6, but then thanks to this bishop, I have queen e6 check. If they go to d6, to d8, I bring the rook over, ready to take, followed by checkmate. If after queen e6 they go to f8, I put them in check again. They're never gonna castle. And then bishop e3, very powerful attack. That final position, I'm not expecting you to remember it, but it was basically this. So this is the final position that we're talking about. Now, second position, well, actually, no. This is the final position, the second position. So after e4, pawn takes, that's what actually happened in the game. We have knight e5, pam, pam, pam. Then, do you remember what the black pieces play here or no? And it's important. We gotta remember our piece, our moves, black pieces move, everything. Nope, 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 nope. Bishop e7 or bishop e7, nope. Nope. Oh man, you forgot everything, guys. I can't believe it. I think if you go bishop g7, queen d6 is gonna be pretty annoying. But you know what? No, bishop g7, we have knight c4, knight d6. That's what it is. Nope. You forgot. The move was queen c7. Hitting that knight. No, not queen d8. Now, let me see out of curiosity, if they go bishop g7, what is it that they could have played? Yeah, it's queen d6. It's queen d6. So not even knight c4, just queen d6 right off the bat. Just the moment you leave the dark squares, they're gonna start bothering you, all right? So queen c7, then what was the next move for white? Bishop f4, perfect. We develop, putting pressure on that bishop. If they go bishop d6, that's not what they played, but what did we say we were going to do? Yeah, then they played knight h5, perfect. Now, what did we say we would do if they played bishop d6? That was a simple tactic. There you go, knight d7, thanks. You could play this, and then you cleared the b5 square for the knight, thanks. Or you could play knight here, and then knight f6, double check. So in the actual game, we have knight h5, and then you said it already, knight goes to d5, queen d6, and then what was the final combination? Give me the whole thing, guys. Don't be lazy. Give me the whole thing. This is the final push that we have to do. It was knight d7, then knight f4, then knight c5, block, knight e4. Try to really picture that in your head. Update the image in your head every single time. Then I went to e4. Then queen goes to e5. This time I'm not forgetting. I gotta chop off the bishop so that the knight is not defending here anymore. So knight takes, then knight f6, king e7, and queen d7. That's the position you have up here, right? So knight d7, knight c5, give me that. Now chop off the bishop, knight leaves, and then queen d7. So imagine being a super GM and losing like this as black. So if it happens to them, it could happen to us. Forget about that. All right, guys, only one more thing that I have to do. You're welcome to join me or go ahead and do something else.